Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa naminim, Gola Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate. Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Jaya Goranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Goranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Goranga, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda, Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Hare Krishna Prestaya Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Hare Krishna Prestaya Haribo.
Horrible Namaste. Let us continue our study program by reading the universal form of Lord Krishna in relationship with his confidential loving friend Arjuna. So here I'll read Lord Krishna's teaching and the purport of our instructing spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, about the transcendental eternal relationship that Arjuna has as a friend of Lord Krishna. So here we can also see in ourselves, am I a friend to Krishna? Am I a friend to God? What is my relationship? What is my focus? So, if you look closely, the reason we're always lonely, empty-hearted, and not experience the sweetness of loving someone because of our engrossment in this body and the focus of the mind. That is the main reason that in this age of Kali Yuga, the process that is given to us is the Maha Mantra to draw the mind away from matter because we have been engrossed for so long. So when you're sitting down, either you're a teacher, you're a mother, you're according to your status, you're a businessman, and you're sitting down and you're not experiencing fulfillment with what you're doing because activities in the material world is simply under the jurisdiction of material nature. Everything that we see here is done by God through the material nature. We're just sitting under the influence of the three modes of material nature. And when we pursue a goal to connect ourselves with what we're longing for, real happiness, then the guidance we seek is when we sit down, the mind. But the mind is not eternal. And the mind will not be sufficient to connect us with God because the mind that we have had made it that we are now engrossed in this body because of our meditation. situated in the mind are the three gates of hell. Lust, unlimited craving for fulfillment, to be fulfilled in love, through trying to satisfy our happiness through the senses. And we're always angry because we are frustrated in trying to connect ourselves with God through the use of the mind, because the mind is matter, subtle matter. And not only that, it's very powerful. And greed, to long for something. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we were discussing about our focus and meditation. So when one is so engrossed and meditates upon this world through the senses, guided by the mind, he sees something in this world through the senses. He, the person, looks through the eye. It's not the eye looking, it's you looking through the eye. It's you listening through the ear to this gross material world. Then you begin to perceive something. And you begin to contemplate, meaning you begin to focus. It's like an itch. It gets itchy, you scratch. Then you scratch again. The more you scratch, the more it gets itchy. Have you noticed that? All of us experience that. When there's an itch, you scratch. Then it goes scratch and scratch and scratch and scratch until it bleeds. So it's like that. When we perceive something through the senses, and we are not aware that we are just the witness, seeing through the eye, sitting down in this body, watching you, talking to this microphone, feeling the coolness of the wind. You now become the witness when you have this wisdom about your true identity. That you are just sitting in this machine. It's like a dress. But in this case, it's a machine made of material energy. Now, if you sit down and meditate and look, it's not just digesting. When you eat something, it gets digested. You know, there's metabolism. You eat something through metabolism, the big stomach and the small stomach grinds it. And through the food you eat, that can synthesize it through the different chemicals that you eat through the vegetables, that synthesize, meaning it breaks down. And there's cellular metabolism. Meaning the cell takes on the food. But we cannot be aware of that when we're so engrossed. When we're scratching and it's scratching. Just like a dog. Have you seen dogs before here? Who roam around, you know. They have a lot of fleas. And big fleas like that. Stuck in their bodies. And they always scratch the whole day, just scratching and scratching and scratching. So that is when one is so engrossed. Because he now contemplates on the sense object he sees. And it entangles him. He becomes stuck. You begin to chew the tube. It's just like a person walking. He sees a bubble gum. Wow, bubble gum. He gets it, chews it, spits it. Then somebody comes again. It's another package. So through the laws of the conservation of material energy, all the forms you see here, made out of matter, is transformed into another form because the building blocks that are making that form, the atoms, are being transformed into different forms due to the mystic power of Lord Brahma. It's very scientific, and it is with wisdom when you understand this science. Because it will help you, it will protect you. Because we are always lonely in our heart, looking for someone to love. Then when we identify with the body through sense perception, It's like an itch. You scratch and you scratch. And when you begin to contemplate, you begin to act upon it. And then you become to follow the dictates of the senses. That's why a spiritual master's qualification, he is a Goswami, master of his senses. He can direct the senses. So how can we achieve such stage? It is through God himself that the senses are compared to snakes in the mind. And here in the Philippines, everybody's afraid of, they call it utu-utu. What's that? Or cobra. You know? Not unlike in other countries. The black widow, the different, snakes that are really, what snake that they're afraid here? What's that in English? It's, not a python. They're not pink cobra. That when you see that, it sees you, runs after you and bites you. It's like a serpent, Oh, yeah. So that's what happened with a person. And while you're sitting down, for example, you teachers, you're sitting in a room, and the mind, you have to focus your mind because you have to teach your lesson to these kids who are so lazy, who are also wandering like you. You have to harness them, but you have to harness first your senses because you cannot sit down there the whole day controlling your mind, harnessing it to focus and write down all what you will teach to the kids. It's so practical. So it's a daily grind, every day, daily grind. Just like all those individuals, who do work in the hospital, as nurse, as doctor, you as teachers, it's a daily grind you do every day. So what will keep you in balance? That when the senses, the mind, you are trying to harness, especially the mind, to harness the mind so the senses can be focused. The eyes, the hands, writing. But if you are not in control of your senses, you are so much engrossed. It's like you're bitten by this deadly snake. And the venom has put you in a situation, you're immobile. So the process that's given to us is that the snake should be neutralized. The mind should be neutralized and defocused from this focus that we are now contemplating based upon ignorance of our true, real, eternal identity. As eternally, spirit, soul, life should be active in activities with life, with God, with the desire to please God. If we are not in that consciousness, then we'll be bitten by the snake. So the senses are like snakes in the mind, But if you chant the holy names, all the pangs of the snakes will be taken out. That even though the mind will nag you, because the mind is the embodiment of all the experience you had in this body since time immemorial you've been here. And the experience is through contemplation and acting through the senses. It's all there, registered in your mind. That's why when you're hungry, immediately the mind gives you impetus. Oh. And how is that? If you're in Madana, Mohana, there's somebody selling the fishbowl, you're writing, you're hungry, fishbowl. Then imagine, the mind immediately, it's like a database na you can see in your mind, fishbowl, with hot sauce and open happiness. Then you immediately call your student, hey, buy this outside. Because at 12 o'clock, it's all gone. People will be consuming it. So you can see, so we have become, in a way, not hypnotized. We have become so engrossed because of our meditation. That is why God Himself comes as the Maha Mantra to draw the mind away from matter to connect it with his desire. Because everything that is happening here is under the control of God. So what we should do is we should be in harmony with the Supreme Controller, Govinda, Krishna, and that person is the Lord of love. It's all about love. It's all about caring. But because we have this attitude, contaminated attitude of trying, of envy in the mind, because the mind where envy and greed is situated, and we're so engrossed, we think we're the body. So when we come in contact with a saintly person teaching us about our true identity, because we as individuals have a choice, we have our own will, but we're not controller, we're not the supreme controller, we're under the laws of material nature. We're always subservient and will be always a servant. So what happens? Because of this material contamination, anything that gets along the way of the hypnotical power of material nature, passion. We see now the teachings of Krishna, giving us love, embracing us. The spiritual master, someone who cares for us. We see them as our enemy, our nemesis. The mind, why will I listen to you? You know, it's so nice chewing this bubble gum. You know, why will I listen to you? It's so nice eating these thorns. You know, the more I scratch, the more I itch. It bleeds. No, and the experience you experience here, you get brokenhearted. Someone leaves you. Someone you love dies. The investment you put, it's taken away. You want an environment that is, wow, like a heavenly environment. But there's another problem, because this world is a place of misery. Misery is caused by the mind. Misery is caused by the body. Misery is caused by material nature. Misery is caused by other living entities. Just like a kid here in Madana, he comes to the age of puberty. She begins to, wow, he loves me, I love him, he falls in love. Puppy love, dog love. You know? And the mother tells her, no, don't do that, because you'll be putting yourself in great danger. You'll be exposing yourself. That depends. You know, it's a world, it's a jungle. Everybody here, you see the relationship here? All of us here, we want to take something. We think we are, you look closely, all the individuals who are here in this material world want to get something. Now, if a person is contaminated with material consciousness, material disease, what will happen? He sees everything, everywhere, where he can consume, satisfy his longing for satisfaction that is not fulfilled because he's misdirected upon this world. But when the devotee comes, Krishna comes, the holy names, the mind begins to depend. That's a false ego. Because when a person is so contaminated with material nature, the disease of materialism, the false ego means your false identity, false lordship, and it gets along. That's why girls don't want to hear the truth. Oh, don't tell them that what I'm trying to portray, you know, not even girls, even boys. Look, why are you telling the truth? That beauty is skin deep. You know, it's already chewed. How much I've spent with my blonde hair. You know, I followed bellow. I chiseled my face, my lips. And you begin to tell them, there's nothing there. It's dead shit. How can I attract? How can I control? And the men, you see, they portray they're powerful. Look at history. It's like trying to trick one another. Everybody wants to trick one another to get something. Look at history. Samson, most powerful. Everybody's afraid of the people there. The enemies are so afraid. But when he saw Delilah, you know, wow, beauty. And he didn't know that this person wanted also something to control him. he fell in love. So while sleeping, Delilah cut his hair. And the power that he has, actually, it's just symbolic, because at the time he succumbed to lust, he forgot Krishna. And then at the time that they took his sight, and blindly he begins to feel what he had done. And then he has to atone it. But in that story, he has to kill all those people by pushing the two pillars. So my point is this: we are all individuals. And if we don't have this wisdom, we cannot appreciate God's love. And what we're looking for is love. And what is love all about? It is a relationship with someone. And that person is eternal. Your eternal friend who has unconditional love for you. Krishna, Govinda, who is always with you, side by side. You are the person in this body. And there's another person there. The Lord within the heart, whose role is to remind you, who remembers your past, present, and future, who gives you wisdom. But He's just there watching you. And now, we have become subservient to the mind because of our engrossment in this material world. We get influenced by those who we associate because the sound that comes from them engross us. You see how advertisement do something? To be loved. I think your nose is flat. Why don't you chisel it? Let's pull it up. Your face is sagging, Why don't we chisel it, So you'll be accepted. So our source of happiness is very shallow. It's very temporary. To be loved because of our dress that gets old. Who will love you when your body's... I've seen, about when we were there with someone, we were looking for flowers, and the flowers, in the beginning, wow, the body is like this beautiful flower that blooms. So nice. But time, it withers. So I saw this old lady walking with a cane, and I was just watching, and I said to Dan, what if we can stay in this body and have an age like her? Maybe we will be walking with wheelchairs already. Or my friend, where we go, this person is wealthy, he doesn't need the cane. He has this small, motor car. And so he can go to the mall. He cannot walk. He cannot stand. So they put a brace in his back. So you see, if your focus of happiness is squeezing something with this death matter, then you're in for a ride by Maya. You think you can overcome material nature? Although material nature, we are in quality same with the Supreme Person, but material nature is more powerful than us. So we must sit down and see in ourselves, what foundation do I have? What security do I have? Will I rely upon my mind, or which is temporary? Because this body is temporary. Or will I rely with the wisdom that I'm eternal, my eternality as transcendental person, life, and my transcendental activities should be rendering loving service to Krishna, but with the focus I do to achieve happiness based upon the ascending method through my senses, now really downgraded because I am now meditating and focusing my happiness to this material world, then I get nothing because I am a different energy. But they don't want to hear that. When we talk about that, this desire, people get angry. Why? If you cannot get, what is the reason why you get angry? Because you cannot get what you want. You're anticipating. I want that, I want that, I want that. And then somebody gets that. In any capacity, either fame, beauty, and everything, you get angry. When you're angry, because the reason you get angry, because you get frustrated. You cannot get really what you're looking for in this material world, the search for happiness. That's why everybody is depressed. Why are we depressed? Why are we lonely? Because we are not connected with the source of joy in harmony with His will, His desire. If our life is centered around pleasing God, then we are always joyful. That even though in the face of adversity, the struggle in this world, while in this body, the experience of old age, the experience of diseases that we experience in this body, and the miseries caused by material nature and other living entities, it's like, hitting a brick wall. But no, you carry on because you experience a higher taste. And that higher taste is your connection with your love and surrender to the Supreme Person. That's why Krishna comes, packaged, complete. The Supreme Person is complete. He's the source of happiness. He's the cause of all causes. He's Govinda. He's the Lord of love. He's the most beautiful person, the kindest, the softest, the most gentle, Krishna. But the mind is hard and engrossed with hardness. Although subtle, the focus we do is upon this hard world. That's why our defense is always hard. When we meet someone, what do we offer that someone? The hardness of what we have. So you check in yourselves. We check in ourselves. Am I making progress? That even though it's really hard, because for so long we have been servant of the mind, material nature, illusion or Maya. And when we make an effort to get out of our clutches, it's hard because this is the place of Maya. And all the people here are agent of Maya. Just like COVID virus. It permeates, it transforms, it goes, it becomes stronger. And now, that's why our situation is described in Scripture by the saintly person. You're drowning in the ocean of misery. You cannot get out of there. You have been put in a situation like this. You're inside a cocoon. Or not only that, you're inside the womb. You cannot move. And Krishna comes, who picks you up. But because for so long we want to do our will, it's high time to ask, can my will be done always? Am I self-sufficient? Or what I do can really fulfill my heart? You look closely. We are so small, teeny-weeny. We are not self-sufficient. That's why we must become free from this arrogance and see how we have become disconnected with this world of loving relationship. The pure science of devotional service has no material consideration. Simply loving, serving. Just like an example our Gurudev gives. A mother who loves the child. The baby falls down in the creek. Even though she does not know how to swim, she dives without caring about her welfare and save the child. Just like a person who's drowning, you're looking for air. Do I have that drive that I'm drowning, I want air? Or put it in this way. Am I really longing for this relationship of serving and loving God? Then we can see what drawback we have when we were so engrossed and now our life is so much focused upon this world. It's like the discussion that we have been discussing, that the turtle who is roaming around in the desert, when there's water in the oasis, there are oases in the desert, and during rainy sometimes it rains, there's water, but for long summer the water evaporates. What happens to the turtle? The mud gets petrified, covers him, and he cannot walk. That is our situation. But we have this anger. What? What can you offer me? Because of our attitude. That's why Lord Chaitanya, the secret in spiritual life that our spiritual master is revealing to us is chanting the holy names, the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And to succeed, we must meditate upon the third prayer of Lord Chaitanya that becomes our prayer every day, just like the national anthem the kids do. Subservient to the flag. But in this case, it is about giving our life, our heart in humbleness. One should chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, feeling himself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. Tolerance. How can you tolerate the urge of the senses? When you are protected by God, when you have this higher taste, when you are not servant of the senses, how can you know you're making progress? When you're loving God, you'll be loving His children. You will be serving and loving them. You think love, relationship in this world is about love? No, it's about consuming. It's about getting something. So you have to give a product. Look what product I have. My face has been just chiseled. I have these 6 abs, I have a car, I have a house. Marry me. And the girls also, look at my beautiful smile, my eyes, the sound, I can lullaby you to sleep in the lap of illusion. But the relationship is, I want to get you, and the person, I want to get you. So 2 empty cups get together. 2 empty cups. And they sing song of emptiness. This is the harsh world that we have been conditioned, that we are now chewing the chewed. Not only that, we love to taste our own blood, just like the camel. And when someone comes, like the tortoise has been petrified, who's, in the ocean of material birth and death, cannot even survive, dying. And the symptoms are there: frustration, anxiety, fear. This ocean of material world is not just drowning from fear, drowning from loneliness. But we think, I'm the man, I'm the woman, I can make it. No, you cannot make it. You're under the laws of material nature. And when someone comes there, hey, why don't you come? Join this bandwagon, We have this big boat that doesn't sink, where you can be happy. And you're looking, no, I want here with the crocodiles, with the whales, with the shark. I like drowning, And because of your anger, he holds your hand. Don't hold my hand. You're trying to get out of my way. But that is the force of Maya, illusion. Maya will always encumber you and offer you that even though you experience getting separated from someone you love, Maya comes again and when you look at now, you look at Facebook, immediately there's ad. Or you're in YouTube, something comes. Being offered by Lazada, by Alibaba, by Amazon, all this plastic and, cooking utensil that you can use while you're thinking how to be happy and fulfilled in eating something to make it really past cooking. And they portray it very nice. While you're there, you have this relationship cut off. You're walking like a dead man. And then, while walking, crossing the street, it's a jeep stop or a crossing, and then you look at the other side. Wow, a beautiful girl. Or the girl also, wow, a handsome man. This is the world of Maya, where we are tricked. You're always tricked. Budul-budul. But you don't know. Because the trickster is Maya, and she's very powerful. You think you can beat Maya? It's just like when you gamble in a casino, you're already defeated. Nobody gets rich in the casino because you can never compete with all those tricksters in the casino. But Maya is greater than them. She can package something that you like through your senses. You think you're a human being? We're all alien. We don't belong to this world. We are not this body. But you think, in the beginning when you go to school, what do they do to you? Oh, son, give them this profile. I'm the son of engineer such and such. My height is 3 feet. Brown eyes, black hair. Filipino, male. It's all about the packaging of Maya, this body. And when you go out, there's the canteen. Oh, so much food. And you see those people enjoying. It's like a world of illusion, but you think it's real. So become free from this illusion. See it for what it is. And through Krishna himself, embracing you, embracing us, we connect our life, our heart, with real shelter. But we must do the walk. We must make the choice. Not the choice that Maya is offering. You see the song, you hear the song they sing. They want to be number one. So she now sings there, this girl is on fire. And everybody, wow. You ask yourself, are you burning with this loneliness, this suffering, this emptiness? Then there is an opportunity now because you're in this time and space with Krishna. So the more you chant, the more you appreciate how you're being loved. And then you realize, God, relationship with me is all about love. How about me? What should my relationship be with Him? It should be with love also, to render loving service. Service as the end itself. Because just coming in contact with Him, your heart is fulfilled. Simply chanting the holy names, embracing Him, the source of joy, it connects with joy. You begin to feel this happiness within. The more you chant, the more you like to chant. The tongue begins to love to chant. The ear begins to hear the sound that comes off your lips that you have heard from His representative, Krishna. And that is a sign you're making progress. You're getting well. Just like when a person is sick with jaundice, sugar candy when he eats sugar candy, it's bitter. Jaundice, it's sickness of the bile. When you taste sugar, wow, pait man, it's bitter. But the cure should be taking more sugar, candies. But not too much that you'll be diabetic, just to cure that disease. Then, when you get well, wow, this big lollipop I bought from the, from that feria or that circus as big as this and the cotton candy, I can enjoy it now because it tastes sweet. Unlike before, even though you give me a lot of candy, no, I don't like it, it's bitter. So in spiritual life, what is bitter in the beginning becomes sweet. Because the more you chant the holy names, the more you become purified. The more we become free from this material disease. The more we experience life, love. Because life and love is connected. But material life in the beginning is sweet because it titillates the senses. The scratch, I love to scratch. I'm burning, And then you get burned. It becomes bitter and you're there with an empty bag, holding an empty bag. You look closely. You invest in so many, you put your investment, your time, God's love, this body that belongs to God, His care for you to be able, you're now in this human form of life, you have this intelligence to understand and be connected with God, unlike the animals whose activities are simply eating, sleeping, mating, and fighting. But you have a higher intelligence to inquire, why are you here? You now begin to see that, yes, I should use this great opportunity I have, that God's love for me, this material energy, temporary under my hold, I should harness it to connect myself and offer it back to God. Use it. Use the time that is giving me with this body. So what is in the beginning bitter, hard, after a while it becomes sweet. But material life is different. When you invest your time and energy in this material world, it's just like at the end you're holding an empty bag. And when you enter the door, leaving this body, you're holding an empty bag. How is that? Where your mind is, that's where your heart will go. If your mind is focused, you are able to direct it as a Goswami, as what we have been instructed. Let Krishna take care of the mind and draw it away from matter by simply chanting the holy names. You become a Goswami because the mind is the king of the senses. And when the king is caught, all the followers get caught, become subservient. So if you can direct the mind and the senses to serving God, then you will succeed. We will succeed. Because that is a science. But if we just carry on with the mind and through contemplation of the senses, what will happen is that we end up holding an empty bag. Because at the time we're living this world, our meditation, the input that is the database in your mind is all about your attachment to this world. And it's not really a security because you're gonna leave it. And the fruit, you can see around. Look at the hospital. Diba? The hospital. People, when they get sick, go to the hospital. Because they think that they will not die if they go to the hospital. As if the doctors can save them. Look around when you go home. You pass by the cemetery here, cemetery there, cemetery there. When you go out, you see old men. You see, I was here 1985. A lot of people here are gone already. These are the new generation. And I look at my body. Somewhere along the time, I'm gonna leave also. So open your eyes, see your situation, and make the right choice, the right decision. And how to do that? Focus upon the teachings that are eternal. It is connected with your love, with the desire of God. So, if we use our time and energy, or give our heart, then the mind will follow what's in our heart, what's our happiness. If you love someone, then the mind follows it. So the time of death, where your heart is, at the time you're living, and even now, what will protect you? Maya offers something. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Tasty, tasty, tasty. Smelly, smelly, smelly. You know? But you're not interested. Because your focus is upon the person you love. His will, his heart's desire, his embrace, and through contact with him, and embracing the holy names, it gives you so much happiness. And now the relationship is more based upon honesty, trusting. You hold the line to please and serve that person. It's not that when the going gets hard, you run. You know? You walk away. No. You stay. That's why the spiritual master, he gives an example of his love for us, his care for us. He tells us, if there's a ship or a vehicle or an airplane that goes to Krsna, and we are 100 here, 101, and only 100 can go to Krsna, who will stay? Have you seen a boat sinking? Have you seen even in jeepney in Manila, when everybody's waiting to go to the work, everybody goes, push one another, I'm gonna sit first. Diba? That's the attitude. But the spiritual master, he lets us, all of you, follow this process, go to Krsna. He stays. Because the spiritual master is the representative of God. And he wants us to be connected with that loving relationship. That's why this body that we have, instead of seeing it as something because made of matter, to squeeze, extract happiness and fulfillment, we should use this body as a temple of God because it belongs to God. We belong to God. We must embrace Krsna. I belong to Krsna. I belong to God. Nothing belongs to me. And that relation becomes mature and purer the more we become purified. And then we come to the point, there's nothing more to be gained except loving and serving Krsna. Just like what has been manifested here when Krsna was here 5,000 years ago. Look at the life and meditation of all the residents of Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya who came here, look at his meditation in his associate. It's all about pure loving devotional service. And look about what we're always meditating. We're thinking, has iPhone 12 come out? Or ultra Samsung? And those who are really, they think, has a new car come out? I have collection of so many cars. No, there's a new car now. Your car are passé. And then you long for it. You work hard. You're not seeing that car you're sitting is made out of matter. That previously, it came from Palangana, Irinola, And now it's transformed with a painting, and you're sitting down there. Wow, I got it. Then after a year, I want to sell this. There's a new car. That's material life. In the beginning, wow. Then after a while, it gets stale. Because it's already chewed. It's already chewed like the bubble gum. So, we should be with wisdom that will protect us. And the protection that we can always have is this relationship with God, with Krsna. That we will make a stand, embrace Him. And Maya offering, not interested. The mind will tell you, eat this, not interested. I can eat that, but I have to offer it to Krsna. I have to do that, but I have to do it in harmony with Krishna's will. So is it clear to you? You have any questions? about your identity, about your position, about your world, and you can now analyze. On one hand, this is what is conducive, what is perfect, what will really give me happiness, the shelter of having a pure, loving relationship with God. And I must work hard to chant, because Krishna will do everything when I embrace Him. He's the one, because He instructs us. Just surrender unto me, love me, and I'll protect you. Protect us from what? Embrace us. Now, on the other hand, our own will, trying to be controller, imitate God. You think, where will I succeed? We're all selfish. So, be a transcendental selfish person. Just do the will of God. Because that is our eternal life, our eternal world, serving and loving and pleasing the Supreme Person. We are completely dependent upon His love and His desire and His will. That is devotional service, and we can achieve that to the process of the chanting of the Maha Mantra. Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. God has so many innumerable names. It's all invested with transcendental potencies. Just like the sun is there with all the rays. All you got to do is go out and see. But if you just like to become like that worm or that like rat, you can just stay there under the ground, You cannot see light. You'll just be eating mud and worms. So, I'll stop. Let's continue tomorrow. So hopefully you have learned something from our study program, and be introspective. Introspective in a way to ask this question: who am I? Where am I heading? What do I really have? What are my goals in life? If I think in my mind it will be a success, look around. Those people who had it, are they successful? So you check. Because Krishna loves you so much, He doesn't want us to suffer. Our spiritual master loves us so much that He comes to beg us. Love Krishna. Go back home to the kingdom of God. Love Him, serve Him. Haribol Namaste. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate. Hari Bol Krishna, Hari Bol, Hari Bol Krishna, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.